Alright. Alright. I gotta get some... Get the ambience going. Moderation? I'm not big enough to do moderation. Like, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck? Alright, as we get into this, let me... Hold up. Alright. Okay, I gotta set things up real fast. Because I changed my mind last minute on what I was gonna do. So I gotta type this in. Man, this music is so calming. I also have to make sure I find the right one. Oh, this looks like small. Let me see. Oh, it has all of them. Okay, oh, I'm assuming this is the missing Chalice Dungeon. Chalice Dungeons, I'm assuming, is missing. Yeah, the major Chalice Dungeons. Okay. I believe I have found the one I would like to do today. I forgot what my shortcuts were. I believe it's F2. I believe it's F2. I believe we are looking for F2. Yes! There we are. I have it set to ultra low latency. All's good. Alright. So, if y'all are watching on YouTube post the stream, I sometimes the stream very randomly. It's pretty sporadic, but I believe I've already made a video like this in the past, so that's why I'm not really doing it necessarily here. So yeah. Let me tone this down a little bit so that it's not blinding me as much. God damn. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. I do have a lovely wall back here. I don't know why it's red. Um, it sort of fits the Bloodborne vibes, but let's see here. Oh, nope. Eh. Actually, maybe let's have it. Oh, that's intense. I want it like a light blue. Ooh. Holy moonlight colored. Let's go. Let me adjust so y'all can see a little bit more of the setup. Actually, y'all just mostly see that fucking wall. Okay, yeah. I think there's good. Yeah, well, there's good. Alright. Especially... Yeah, the big ass head ain't blocking it. the most part. Alright, let's hop straight into things. Alright, Bloodborne tier list. I have the game Platinum, have a bunch of hours in it. So this should be quite interesting. Also, if anybody needs the music up or down, do let me know. These aren't organized. These aren't organized. Bruh! Alright, we're gonna go from Cleric Beast to Bloodstarved Beast, then we'll go through the Chalice Dungeons, then we'll go finish that out. A lot of the Chalice Dungeon bosses I've only fought once, and some of them have multiple versions. For example, Rom, you do fight in the Chalice Dungeon. I'm going to consider it the boss version. Orphan of Cause, not Orphan, Watchdog of the Old Lords, do two different versions of. There's also an Amygdala in the Chalice Dungeons as well. There's also multiple versions of the Undead Giant as well. We'll get the nuance when I get there. It's so weird seeing myself delayed. Oh, by the way, I am getting a second monitor, so maybe I will stream a little bit more in the future, so, because usually I have to look down at my phone to see chat, which I'm not a huge fan of, so hopefully I can I'm going to plan on moving this PC a little bit more over this way, as much as I can, moving this monitor a little bit over, and then having the monitor right there, and camera smack dab straight between. Now, let's get into here. Cleric Beast. Where is it? Is the question. Where's the Cleric Beast? There it is. Stylish? Okay, that reminds me of the Zesty meme. Ambivalent? Okay, what the fuck does it mean? Okay, Cleric Beast. I do think it's a really solid boss. Is it the best? Yes. Yeah. I think it's the best tutorial, well, quote-unquote tutorial. It's one of the best first bosses that you have ever fought in a, not just a Soulsborne game, but maybe Souls-likes as well. Stellar Blade's first boss isn't particular. His first boss is also really good. At least the first one you actually fight, not just the other one. The quote-unquote cutscene boss, as I like to call it. Yeah, Demon Souls, the first boss is Phalanx, which it does teach you something, but it's not a particularly eventful fight. Dark Souls 1, it's Taurus? No, it's Asylum Demon. It isn't fantastic. You learn about plunge attacks, but plunge attacks are almost never used. And then Dark Souls 3, it's Vor of Boreal Valley, right? Yeah, it's Vorto. No, it's Unix. Unix Gundyr is a really solid intro fight, too. Damn. Yeah, but I think Cleric Beast, really solid boss, has great music. Really solid fight as well. Teaches you about beast fights and serrated weapons to increase damage. You also learn a little bit of the limb breaking system. So, yeah, I think very solid boss. Father Gascoigne is also really... I'm gonna put Father Gascoigne above Cleric Beast. Father Gascoigne is the only boss that I still cheese, and that well, not still cheese, but like I can't beat legitimately still, because some of the hunter attacks are just I'm not a parry guy in Bloodborne for the most part. I can parry, it's just my skill's not up there in terms of parrying. I'm mostly an aggressive, combat type person. So yeah, Father Gascoigne, very solid boss fight. I do really love this boss. It has the story, the music hypes up as time progresses as well. Do 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 do. It's really solid, really solid. It does have some outside boss stuff as well. So yeah, really solid boss, really solid boss. Murgo's Wet Nurse. I'm gonna put it in bad. It lasts too long. It just lasts so long. Murgo does, it has good music, but which is the only reason why it's not in dismal. But it's just, the fight feels like it lasts ages. And when the whole purple fog thing happens, it really just becomes a game of just running and dodging, running and dodge, dodge spam basically. I feel like that section lasts too long, and it just feels extremely slow. So that's the only reason why it's bad. Most Bloodborne bosses aren't really going to be in the mid. They're usually either bad or good, which is great, but also not great at the same time. Oh, I accidentally skipped to an endgame boss. Next, after Father Gascoigne is Bloodstarved Beast, actually. Where are you, Bloodstarved Beast, boy? I think he's mid. I think the poison stuff is a little bit much, in my opinion, and the run back is quite. It's not like a skip and a hop over to him. It's actually kind of a bit of a trick where you can easily take damage in if you don't have enough stamina. I don't know. I have tried cheesing this boss. This boss is just flat out easier to legit fight, and I didn't know, but you can parry this boss. Like, I didn't learn this until the previous time that I fought him, but yeah, you can parry this boss, which is interesting. Let me write this out a little bit. Kind of hurt my mouth a little bit, but yeah, Bloodstone's Beast is all in all a pretty solid fight. It's not the best. I'm not a huge fan that he locks the challenge dungeons entirely. I wish there was an alternative way to get it if possible. Um, but you do see a hung up version of the boss in the previous area as well. So I don't know. It's pretty mid. I'm just not a huge fan of the poison. And the phases don't really go anywhere besides it gets a little bit more aggressive. Now we're gonna go into chalice dungeons here. This is where we're getting to some more difficult ones. Undead Giant I don't like. I hate it worse than Murgo's Wet Nurse. I hate it worse than Murgo's Wet Nurse. Murgo's Wet Nurse has issues, but it has music going for it. Undead Giant has nothing going for it. It's not horrible, but there's just so many different variations that it's kind of tough to judge. Like the cannon one was a little bit, the blade one is also, but it does have the aspect of breaking limbs, which is kind of cool. You can bust its postulous boils. That was one of the most disgusting sentences that I have ever said. But yeah, Undead Giant I think is bad, but dismal. Don't worry, it'll have some company soon enough. Brains? Oh yeah, Brainsucker isn't a chalice dungeon. Dismal. I hate Brainsuckers in general. But I got the chalice dungeon boss is also really lazy in my opinion too. Especially, I believe you have to fight him. I believe all of these chalice dungeon bosses that are here, you have to fight in order to get the platinum. So I think I remember fighting one. This shit was ass. Fight was terrible. I hate Brainsuckers as an enemy because of the grab. You can quit and come back, but in a boss situation, you can't really do that necessarily without spawning outside of the room. I just don't. I hate Brainsuckers. Awful. Figured out awful. Might as well put Man-Eater Boar here. The only reason why it's higher than Brainsuckers is because it's not as bad. But oh my god, having a boar as a boss is horrible. Horrible decision. I don't know who the fuck thought this up, but why? Really bad. Lauren Darkfeast. This fight, I probably did some of these latter stages in the Chalice Dungeons in New Game Plus. So fun fact, the Chalice Dungeons do not scale upward. They will be at base game difficulty. They don't scale up to New Game Plus. At least from my experience. At least if you have the Chalice Dungeons already procced up, then they don't. But I might not have fought this one. I don't know. The Lauren Chalice Dungeons, I didn't really remember much of. I'm going to put him at mid. Landing and stuff is pretty cool. I know I've at least seen footage of that boss, so yeah, I'm just putting him at mid. Putting him at mid. Decent fight. Oh, Silver Beast! I do remember this one. This one was stupidly easy. But because it's just another enemy, it's going in bad. The only reason why it's not dismal is because it was pretty easy. Not saying that the Man-Eater Boar was easy, but sometimes if I can go from 0 to 100 real quick. If you're not paying attention, at least. Beast-Possessed Soul. This is another enemy that is found quite quite a bit, but it's rarer than the silver beasts are. It has a boss. It's honestly, it's mid. Putting him higher than Lore and Dark Beast because Beast Possessed Soul is memorable in your first encounter with it. And the fight's not actually like bad or anything. Oh, Bloodletting Beast. I remember this piece of shit. Dismal. I'm not giving it. I'm not. No. Worse than all of no. It has a unique model. That's the only reason why it's better than Brain. It's better than Brain Suckers because it has a unique model. The main order board was easier than Bloodletting Beast. Bloodletting Beast was an abysmal experience. That's what I wish I could turn back in time and get my time back. Numerian Elder. It's not Descent. Elder, I don't remember. It's been quite some time. I'm just gonna put him in Dismal because I don't remember him. Sumerian Descent. I'm actually not a huge fan of this boss, but he's unique, so he's going to go right there. He's unique, so that's the only reason why he's going in mid-tier. Headless One. No. Headless One. Bloodletting Beast is the worst boss I fought. Worst boss that I fought, hands down. Worst boss. We're gonna kind of move pretty quickly through the challenge dungeons. Oh, Forgotten Madman. Isn't he the no pants guy? Yeah, this is a no pants guy. He's funny. He goes into mid-tier because he's funny. Oh, Abhorrent Beast. Oh, yeah. Lauren. Oh, that's something different. Bosses that I don't remember going in bad, but they're going at top of Dismal. Because I don't remember them. Abhorrent Beast, I'm not a huge fan of. But because he's unique, because he has unique interaction, he's not going above Murgo, but he's going above the Dead Giant. Bloodborne does not actually have that many bosses outside of Chalice Dungeon, so that is something to keep in mind. Keeper of the Old Lords. I actually did enjoy... Did I enjoy this fight? If you have fire resist on, this fight is actually kind of nice. None of the bosses have specific music to them per se, but they have music that I usually associate with them. I'm going to put him above Bloodstone Beast because the fight, he has cool looking armor, but it's just, if you don't have fire resist on, this fight can just be kind of a pain in the ass. Oh, the 3 Merciless Watchers. Stupidly easy, so it's going in mid-tier. Demarian Descent is cooler. Where... Okay, I know you're there, but... Watchdog of the Old Lords. I think Watchdog of the Old Lords is a good fight. I think Old Lords is actually a good fight. I actually did not have that many issues with the second time you have to fight the Watchdog. The first time, though, like, pretty solid moves. I mean, like, I really enjoyed this boss, and the music for him is really solid, too. At least that they place for him is really good, too. I actually do enjoy that fight. I do enjoy that fight. Sometimes you don't have to complete the entire Chalice Dungeon to do what I usually do for runs when I play the game all the way through. But I still like to fight him, so... Just for that, he's going into good tier. The Thumerian Queen, I felt like could have done a lot more considering the effort that goes with her. I feel like there should have been like an arena change or like something kind of unique to set the boss apart from the rest of the generic Chalice Dungeon boss fights. It's just like I did not enjoy this fight that much considering the absurd amount of effort, but there's so much unique stuff that I'm putting her right below Thumerian Descent. I prefer fighting the Thumerian Descent because he tricks his weapon. So, alright. That is the end of Chalice Dungeons. Now, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and... I think Witches of Hemlock is next. Oh. We're putting it on top of Dismal. We're going to put it on top of Dismal. I'm going to make the rule right now is all main game bosses that are abysmal will be above all the Chalice Dungeon bosses because the Chalice Dungeon bosses are dismal for a reason. You have to go out of your way to get to reach a lot of these bosses. So, meanwhile, by naturally playing the game, you're going to see a lot of the bosses that are in dismal. For example, Witches of Hemwick. Now, Witches of Hemwick is bad. The music is terrible. The music is terrible. Um, Music is absolutely horrible, which is why I referenced it in a song. But coming into this fight with insight is pretty bad. The the black spirits spawn in pretty regularly, and coming in the fight with zero insight is extremely boring. I do that because it's so absurdly easy. However, you can get like one or two shot of very easily by just one of the which is grabbing you, and she's invisible until you see her like last second, which is something I'm not a huge fan of. And you kind of have to rely on like basically really looking around, assuming that the previous witch was in a decent position, which is something I'm not a particularly huge fan of. So yeah, that's why I was going in dismal. After Witches of Hemwick is Vicar Amelia. We're good or good. She's not as good as Watchdog of the Old Lords, strictly because the music is the exact same as Cleric Beast, and I'm not that huge of a fan of it. But Cleric Beast sets you up for Vicar Amelia, which is why Cleric is higher. That and the music was first introduced with Cleric Beast. Now, Vicar Amelia is really solid. Really love the boss design. My few critiques is the same music, but also a lot of the hair and fabric can get in the way of the camera, like massively, and really obscure your vision. But for the most part, that's only if you're standing directly behind her. I actually do enjoy this fight. I do like it. She heals herself. It is interesting, but there is numbing mist in the area. But she's not annoying to the point, like her healing's not like exceedingly annoying. It essentially acts like more of an extending the phase rather than just completely interrupting the flow of it. And you can punish her for healing too, which is not all From Software bosses have. Ooh, who do I fight normally I fight Dark Beast Pearl after. No. After Dark Beast Pearl, after Vicar is Shadows of Yharnam. Yeah, Shadows of Yharnam I usually do first. Shadows, I think it's a good fight. It has the Lord of the Rings motif. The music is a little bit forgettable, but it's not mid because it has a drastic second phase change with the snakes. I'm not a huge fan of 3 ganks, but this fight actually legitimately feels really good to have multiple NPCs in, at least one other NPC in. So yeah, Shadows of Yharnam is a pretty solid, pretty good fight. Not necessarily mid, but pretty good fight. Pretty good. Now, after Shadows of Yharnam is Rom. Oh boy. Rom would usually be in mid, but keeping the Chalice dungeon variation in mind, the Chalice dungeon is horrible. This fight, I'm not... Okay. I'm putting Rom at the top of bad. Actually, we don't have enough representation in mid from main game bosses, so I'm gonna... Red Blood Bloodstone Beast. Bloodstone Beast has unique music and some setup, while Rom, ironically enough, does have a little bit of setup, but only if you somehow manage to get the Cathedral Ward first, which you can't. But Rom has some more lore significance than Bloodstone Beast does. Rom has some music, but the arena is extremely beautiful. It is really beautiful. The fight itself is not terrible necessarily. It's just kind of long. It's long and tedious. But it's manageable, honestly. For a boss that has a little bit of quote-unquote ad clear in it, it's pretty solid, honestly. It's just a challenge engine variation is so bad. But I'm not going to try to count it against it too much. After Rom, I usually do Dark Beast Pearl. Hot take. Good boss. I like this boss. This boss is pretty damn solid. I do enjoy this boss fight. I just enjoyed the way where you can knock the electricity out of him. It's a really cool detail. His music is unique too. I feel like Dark Beast Pearl has more of like Egyptian notes in it, like hints of Egyptian, and it's in the boss's music. It also gives you a really useful badge. You can get a NPC summon in it. Is it particularly useful? Yeah, but is it bad? No. Is it super good? not really either, but really solid boss. I really enjoy. I just love this fight. I don't know. You kind of just have to see it to believe it. Up next is... Ooh, do I usually do Celestial Emissary and whatnot? No, I usually do One Reborn first. One Reborn. Not a good fight. Worse than Murga's Wet Nurse. The music is uninteresting. The design is cool, but that's all it has going for it. I don't like this fight at all. Having enemies at the top doesn't matter much either. You can completely ignore them for the most part. Yeah, I just don't like this fight. It's set up similarly to how the Tower Knight is, but the Tower Knight is just a far superior fight because the actual boss and moveset is definitely decent. There's also the issue is body parts can rain from the sky and deal massive amounts of damage, and sometimes it's hard to read what he's doing because he's so massive. So yeah, not a good fight. Next up, I'm going to tackle the optional areas. So, Celestial Emissary. Solid. I like it. I like this fight. I like this fight. I just like the physics on the fight. That's it. The little head physics. I like it. Lore significance they're pretty amazing too, but it's just, I like this fight. I like the way his head wobbles. That's about as simple as it is. After him is Abradus. Abradus is really unique. I do believe it's a good fight. I don't think it's as good as Shadows of Yharnam or the rest of these boss fights, but I think it's really solid. The way the eyes are and everything, if an eldritch being were to, like, be shown physically, this is the way. This is the way. It's so weird and wacky. It's not necessarily humanoid. The way the arena isn't that grand necessarily either, but it makes sense. Just really, really good boss. Really good boss. Now, after Abradus, Martyr Ligarius, really solid as well. I'm going to put him... I enjoy Watchdog of the Old Lords more, but Martyr Ligarius is, in my opinion, only good very, very late. As a very, very late game boss, I feel like he's really solid. But for how early you can access him, he's way too difficult. I mean, it's not way too difficult, but he does way too much damage for where in the game you can get to him at. Now... We'll do Amygdala next. Amygdala. Mid. But the Bloodstone Beast because it rips its arm. Ooh, but Child Surgeon. No. Child Surgeon Variation. Yeah, no. Child Surgeon single-handedly brings it down a spot. This was the worst Child Surgeon boss I think I fought. Outside of Bloodletting Beast and some of these bottom tiers. But because it's a ninja, because the way you fight it is pretty cool, it jumps around. You don't actually want to hit its back a ton. You want to stay kind of from facing it. Its eyes pop out during certain moves and everything, which is kind of cool. It's a pretty fun boss fight, honestly. It just has no music going for it and not much of a spectacle. And not much lore significance either. Yeah, now we have Mikolash. Bad fight. All I gotta say, bad fight. Now we're going to get to Moon Presence and Gehrman last. We're going to go into the DLCs next. With Load of the Holy Blade, absolute S tier boss fight. I'm really excited for the stream/video. I'm ready for the stream when I fight him solo. Really important to Torch's relationship and everything. Absolute S tier boss, has everything going for it. Sometimes I wish the fight would last a little bit longer, but you know, that's how you know a boss is good. So much lore significance. You have the Holy Moonlight Sword and everything. It's just everything about this boss is almost perfect. After him is Living Failures. Living Failures, in my opinion, is actually a good fight. It has amazing music. It does have some spectacle. It's just the rest of the fight, if it had a better boss. So I feel like if Abradus had the arena and music of Living Failures, oh yeah, Abradus would be like top tier. But yeah, Living Failures is, in my opinion, a good boss fight. Lady Maria, another S tier boss fight. The fight scales up super quickly. I just like Ludwig's music throughout the entirety of it I enjoyed. But Lady Maria, I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of in the certain sections of the third phase. I wasn't necessarily as big of a fan of the music as I was for the first two phases. But yeah, really, really solid boss fight as well. Then after that, I fight Lawrence versus Vicar. Music carries this boss. Other than that, mid boss. Massive lore significance, but so I'm gonna put him at bottom of good because of his lore significance and music. But those things carry this boss massively. Orphan difficulty kind of carries this boss, but I do like this boss, but not as much as almost anything else. I wish the music was a little bit better, in my opinion. The music should have been. I wish the music was a little bit better. But it does have the ambiance, so I'm going to put him right there, I guess. Moon Presence, I'll do first. Moon Presence on its own is a bad fight. Moon Presence on its own is a bad fight. It's not abysmal, but it definitely feels like Moon Presence was Garamond and Moon Presence were supposed to be fought back to back. But I would not be surprised if From Software thought it would have been way too difficult to have you being forced to fight Garamond and Moon Presence back to back, but then saw the complaint of people not like this boss wanting it to be fought back to back. People took that criticism and applied it to Elden Ring when with Elden Beast and Radahn being forcibly back to back, when I don't necessarily think they necessarily need to be. Speaking of Garamond, in my opinion, is the best fight in the entire game. Garamond is the best fight. He's there with you from the start, there with you in the middle, and he's there to see your journey's end. And his dialogue is so amazing that tonight, Garamond joins the hunt. Yeah, really solid. I really do enjoy this boss fight. Rick and I did a music tournament, and we did come to the conclusion that Garamond was the best piece of music there was. That Garamond was the best. Speaking of which, that reminds me, if y'all are watching this after the stream has ended, I do plan on maybe doing a music tier. Like doing like an actual music tournament live and doing Soulsborne music. Picking several pieces from Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, Demon Souls, and Bloodborne. And Elden Ring. Not Sekiro, because I'm not unfamiliar with Sekiro, but yeah. So, like, I might do that at some point. But on that note, it's going to be a pretty short stream, but I want to hop on, you know, see if I can chat with some of y'all. But on that note, thanks for tuning in. I will catch y'all on the flip side.